Dan Brunn's in the house.
Yay.
Gonna hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dealing with work stuff in the other room.
Our guest?
Yeah.
That's what I was just checking in on. How you doing, Mrs. Ryan?
I'm going along.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
There we go. Welcome back. Oh, good. I'm already pushed in there. Look at me.
Great.
Ready to do.
Prepared.
I know. Yesterday. Welcome back, everybody. Today is Wednesday, March 20th, 2019. My name is Jay Ryan. This is Nicole Ryan. We are the Ryans, and this is It's Tonight's Show. Now I'll ask, what's happening, Mrs. Ryan? Oh, you know what? No. I'm going to say first, our guest tonight is architect and certainly Porschephile. He's a musician, very interesting fellow. We just had almost an hour conversation before this podcast, and typical form, we should definitely do this out here. Dan Brunn is here. Dan Brunn from Dan Brunn Architecture. Everyone in LA knows him from having a fucking really cool Porsche that was photographed at Luft, I think, 4 by everyone who attended.
Really?
Just because
He's one of those ones?
He had it there. It just happened. His placement was so good. It was right on a little puddle that looked like a lake, and it just looked like his... I don't know how to describe it, but it was perfectly art directed by those fellas.
I remember that photo.
Zwart and other guy, everybody who was placing the cars.
Beautiful. I remember that photo. It's nice.
Yeah, so it's cool. We'll talk about all the cars
Yeah.
and the architecture. Also, you guys know, I've talked about it on the show before. It's exciting to me personally because of the Eames connection I have. I have a personal connection to them, but also I was a docent at the house. And this is the guy who's doing another bridge house. I mean, it's not, their design. It's his own design, but there's a lot of... I don't know. I'll have him tell us about it, but I'm anxious to hear about all of that stuff.
Super neat.
I hope other people find it interesting, because that's why he's here. I find it really, really interesting.
Yeah, me too.
All right. I'm trying to think. Yesterday, how was Wayne Fetterman?
So much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I know his voice from everything, so every memory of it I play back. I'm like, oh, the guy from blah, blah, blah.
Watching him on television or film is different than talking to him, only because he's the same. It was so fun and it was so cool, but I found myself going, wow, this is one of those moments where, like, I guess I am a little bit starstruck because it's exactly what I expected. Do you know what I mean? It's not starstruck like, oh, Brad Pitt and Fawny. Like, not that I get that way over Brad Pitt. Perhaps that wasn't the best example. Do you have any idea what I'm trying to say here?
Yes. I would have used someone like Ricky Gervais or like someone smart, but like that's not even a good example either.
You're digging deeper than I was, I think.
Totally. Whatever. I know what you mean. It was super neat to be able to talk with him though. It was like one of those meet your hero moments, except amazing. He's so
smart. He's so quick, and he's so I don't know how to describe. Looking into his eyes, he can go anywhere, and I think that's the talent of why he's good at what he does for a living. Mm-hmm. So I found myself going like, I was just watching it happen. That was kind of fun. I thought it was neat. Stuff to get through today, Mrs. Ryan. We just have some behind the orange curtains to get through because our auto kennels, our auto Kramers, are on the road with the Driving While Awesome team.
I saw a photo this morning. They were at a
did?
Prada outlet or something.
Yeah, there's something like that. All right, so let's roll this one now.
Okay.
Roll it, Hal, and we'll see where exactly they are and what's going on. Roll it, Hal.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Ryan. This is Paul Kennel and the Ed. We are in La Tortuga. We left at 5:30 this morning from the kennel, and we're headed out to Hill Country area of Texas for the Hill Country Rally. In tow behind us, we've got Lewis in his 911. We have 2 more 912s behind him. We're right now almost near Blythe. We're heading to Quartzsite and picking up another 911 there, and then to Las Cruces tonight, where there will be 3, 4, 5 more early Porsches. We're meeting there, and heading out to Texas. Should be there by Thursday. If you haven't looked already, the Coastal Range Rally that we finished last weekend is now live on YouTube. So just youtube.com/AutoKennel, and you'll find all of our merry adventures, or you can go to autokennel.com, click on videos, and voila. So, love you guys, miss you, and we'll talk to you soon.
I laughed so hard.
That was mesmerizing, was it not? Was there something about the camera being steady and him being very, open-eyed and steady, and then just the scenery going by?
It was great. It was like those Bob Ross things that are on Netflix of like just watching things be awesome. And I got caught up with that houndstooth behind the Ed.
Oh yeah, that's Tortuga back on the road.
Yeah, I
so
loved
nice.
it.
I love that car.
Welcome back.
I know. Did the Ed smile or wave or anything? I knew he went over it, but I think
zero acknowledgement of anything. It was
there on the rally.
Amazing.
All right, that was actually from yesterday. So let's check in with them this morning and see what's up. Roll it, Hal.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Ryan. This is Paul, and I am dubbing my voice over because it was too windy at the Prada stop. But we pulled over in the middle of nowhere, technically Valentine, Texas, which is outside of Marfa, and it's an art installation of Prada shoe store in the middle of nowhere. So enjoy.
How funny. It's so random.
That is the most random thing.
Like, I don't even see a plaque to say that it's an art installation. That's so funny.
That is so random. And that guy walking by is just as random.
Well, it looks like fun, and the Driving While Awesome guys they always put on a good show, so.
I hope you have a blast.
Yeah, I think so.
It looks fun.
We got to go on one of those at some point.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I'm trying to think. There's one they always talk. Well, we'll figure that out. But yeah, in fact, I think Paul is going to be here Paul Kennel is probably going to be here when they come back, and maybe we'll ask him about what would be a good starter one for us, because there were a few, and I think maybe keeping the group on the smaller side would be good to start out.
Agreed.
Yeah. Awesome, Mrs. Ryan. Well, it's time to ask the question that is on everyone's mind. What's going on?
Before I get too sciencey, because I will, I just read this morning, and I'm late to the party for sure. There's a Sopranos movie prequel.
Mm-hmm. I think you talked about it on the show.
I don't know. Maybe. It's out next year. But David, the guy who wrote the pilot in the series, David Chase, he wrote the movie script.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think he wrote anything there ever was to be of Sopranos, if I recall. I don't mean that there weren't other writers there, but like a David E. Kelly, I'm pretty sure he
had his hand in everything. That I love that series. It's so awesome of him. I see his through line, and so I love that he's involved with the film. But what I really enjoyed was that the guy who plays Tony, James Gandolfini, his son is in the prequel as young Tony.
Yeah.
So,
isn't that cool?
That's pretty rad.
If I recall, they were together when James Gandolfini died.
They were in Europe.
Abroad somewhere. Yeah. That's great. I mean,
It is what it is, but like...
I like to see it. As a fan, it makes me happy.
Yeah.
It's a show.
Was cool.
People talk about it a mob show, and of course that's true, but to me it was a show about family and business, ironically.
Yeah.
And the whole thing. Tony, we all sort of. I mean, he was a father figure, and he died with his son, and now his son's going to do it. To me, it's just the through line is. Well, you said that, but it hits all the heartstrings for me.
Yeah. So the prequel is going back to the '60s,
Perfect.
And the riots in Newark. So.
And Uncle June, I think, is still going to be in it, right?
They're being a little cagey about the returning characters, but they're saying that there will be a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be him, but it'll probably be the dad and Uncle June back in the old days. That's cool.
I can't wait. I'm stoked.
The mom from all the flashbacks in Sopranos was so great. Well, she was wonderful. Olivia, I can't remember Nancy Marchand. She was wonderful on the show, but the flashbacks of that character when she was younger was played by the actress who was in was Steve Martin's wife in I know this is random in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. He loves to give you nookies.
Oh, right.
It's the same actress. But she was so great because the character is so effing complex that I would love to see more. Whoever gets to do that character, if they do, I think is going to be maybe the most important casting on this thing.
Yeah.
It's a really, really important role, in my
Agreed.
opinion.
Agreed. I
It forms
cannot
who
wait to
Tony
see
is and the whole thing, you know.
Yeah, it's a big part of the story. Yeah, you're totally right.
I mean, someone who has their own mommy issues.
That series is about a lot of that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
it is.
an important
It is.
role.
Well, that's why he's
sure.
in therapy in the first place. I don't know if people
Yeah.
realize that. The whole premise of the show is this guy's in therapy because he can't handle the fucking life he's got because he doesn't have the tools that he needs to handle the life he's got.
Which he blames a lot of on how he was raised
Yeah.
and the environment in which he was raised, and of course his mom.
Yeah, we both love to explain over each other. It's so funny. I'm gonna work on me.
I'll work on me. There's good to be had from fevers. So what it does is we're so quick to treat them, right? So like with cough medicine or Advil or whatever. The truth is that fevers serve a purpose, and what they do is, medically speaking, they basically send the killer cells to the infected area, or they invite the infected. That makes them sticky. Heat does, so they can grab them like Velcro better. So, I don't know. There's probably more to that story.
But you dropped it there.
Did I drop it?
I don't know what you have to say yet. Fevers are good because your body, yes, of
They
course,
serve
this is
a
all true.
purpose.
But in my mind, this is common sense. So if we're having to tell everyone else this now, then I understand. But you need to make it into a lesson for them. If they don't know it, that didn't make them know it, in my opinion. But I think that we can get there. So what's the actual...
The truth is that we're so quick to treat everything now that we're glossing over what things are for.
Don't be so quick to react. I think that's a good life lesson for all of us. I know I
Yes.
struggle with it daily.
All the time I do. So, yeah.
Someone says something happens, whatever, somebody rubs you the wrong way or whatever, you know. It's sort of all the same thing.
It is totally... I agree.
No. I'm trying to be... I'm not trying to... I'm trying to help. In my opinion, if you go as above, so below, it is all the same thing. Two people who don't agree get into a little bit of a argument, but if they're able to then see at the end from that argument each other's perspective, then all of a sudden they're able to go about their own ways. It's the same thing when you're talking about damaged cells in a body, whatever the cold or the illness or the flu or whatever the heck it is. Oh, well then your antibody cell, white blood cells go over there and like, hey guys, what's going on? Oh, let's figure this out, huh? Come on. We're all in this body together. To me, it's all the same thing.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. Next.
So moving on. Similarly speaking, there's a blob of warm seawater that's doing something similar in the oceans. It went from the Gulf of Alaska to the Pacific coast and then suddenly disappeared, they said. I think it's somewhere else, and I think we'll find out in a couple of years where it is.
What's
That's
the Gulf
just
of
me.
Alaska? Is that where the Bering Sea is?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
up there. It's one of those inlet things. I'm so bad with geography and terminology for that, but it reminded me of the fever thing of like it had a purpose, like it went through the ocean to like it because it changed migration cycles and like when whales had babies and how many there are. So it's like we never know, but like they call it the blob, which I found amusing.
Yeah. Steve McQueen movie is what I go back to, the Blob.
Oh, yeah. And then, okay, so I'll end with this is a historic time in entertainment.
Oh.
Disney completed their buy of Fox, which
I saw that.
it's a big financial move. It was like $71 billion, this deal. But I look at it in that it's going to really change culture. It's giving them control, like 60% control over Hulu, which I didn't know. And then Fox is becoming really domestic programming. So it's all new. I think it's a really big deal for the entertainment business in LA. I know it's like a thing here, but
Yeah, it is a big deal. It sounds like you're all for it. I'm not necessarily. Why are you all for it? I heard that you say a couple things there, but I couldn't really get the through line of why that was going to be good.
I'm not all for it, but it's happening. So I'm finding the positives of it. I think
okay.
it's bizarre, and I think it's way too much, but it's not in my
When I was a
wheelhouse
kid, there was
to
a thing
figure out mergers.
you weren't allowed to have it, but we're talking about it. You brought it up, so that's why I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. Back in the day, when I was a kid coming up through this stuff, and keep in mind, I wasn't a good student, but I remember the things I was taught, and you used to not be able to have what was called a monopoly. They made a game about it for a lot of reasons about business in the small. It seems like over the years, that has just gone away, and it's just the Old West now, and it's kind of like, do whatever you want, because it'll all be tied up in litigation forever anyway.
Totally. There's no rules anywhere, but like I see this as a big cultural shift.
But why do you keep saying that? What's the cultural shift? Do you think Fox is going to become more like Disney now? What's the cultural shift that I'm missing here? Because I can see you're holding on to something, but I can't get it.
The separation of Fox News and like all that sports stuff.
Oh, you consider
versus
the
division
film of part of it good.
I think it's going to change what people are looking for out of Fox.
I understand, and I'm sorry. I was looking at it from the other perspective. I thought you were, it doesn't matter. I thought the Disney plus Fox was good, not the Fox minus part of Fox is better. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens.
We'll see. So that's
cool.
what's
Oh,
going
wait.
on.
So that's been what's going on.
Thanks.
All right, Mrs. Ryan, let us take a quick break. Get Dan Brunn in here to talk about all the things, so many things. Cars, we've got music, we've got architecture, design, art in general. Like I said, we went on quite a bit out there already. It seems like we might be buds. We might be buds. We've already agreed that we shouldn't have been. We're glad we weren't friends when we were kids because we might have gotten in trouble.
Yeah.
And we're the exact same age, too, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I found that out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
More to come in just a minute. Dan Brunn will be sitting right here. See you in a minute.
I don't need no interpretation, cause this relation I'm in it for the long run. We toying with my eviction, through this connection I keep to get the job done.
There's this girl I know, and everywhere I go, she's somehow always on my mind. And I try to talk to her, but she plays so hard to get now. And my friends say read between the lines. Oh yeah, but I really wanna get to know her, and I know that she wants me to. So whatever happens, happens, and I hope it happens soon. She gives me sweet sensations that I never felt before. Ooh, the way she rocks her body, yeah, she got me wanting more.
I'm down baby side to side, so then I wave of emotion. Come, why don't you put a little lotion on your hand? Got my belly in a slow motion. All we do is turn it up. I'm down baby side to side, so then I wave of emotion. Come, why don't you put a little lotion on your hand? Got my belly in a slow motion.
Said I wanna take you up and down, baby, side to side. Come on, pretty baby, won't you come for the ride? And let me give my loving off to you. Said you know I'm gonna give you my heart and soul. So come on, pretty baby, won't you let me know? 'Cause I wanna let you know that it's true.
I don't need no interpretation, cause this relation I'm in it for the long run. We toying with my eviction, through this connection I keep to get the job done. All we do is turn it up, I'm down baby side to side, so then I wave of emotion. Come, why don't you put a little lotion on your hand? Got my belly in a slow motion. All we do is turn it up, I'm down baby side to side, so then I wave of emotion. Come, why don't you put a little lotion on your hand? Got my belly in a slow motion.
There's this girl I know, and everywhere I go, she's somehow always on my mind. And I try to talk to her, but she plays so hard to get now. And my friends say read between the lines. Oh yeah, but I really wanna get to know her, and I know that she wants me to. So whatever happens, happens, and I hope it happens soon. She gives me sweet sensations that I never felt before. Ooh, the way she rocks her body, yeah, she got me
All we
wanting
do
more.
is turn it up, I'm down baby side to side, so then I wave of emotion. Come, why don't you put a little lotion on your hand? Got my belly in a slow motion. All we do is turn it up, I'm down baby side to side, so then I wave of emotion. Come, why don't you put a little lotion on your hand? Got my belly in a slow motion. All we do is turn it up, I'm down baby side to side, so then I wave of emotion. Come, why don't you put a little lotion on your
Say you
hand?
give away
Got my
something,
belly in
just
a
like you
slow
put it on the
motion.
bottom of the mic. You should always have it on.
Oh, on the mic,
I
yeah.
don't disagree
anything.
with
So,
that.
like,
I just
so-
don't think it needs to be like the face of everything.
Yeah. But I'm
but I understand what
Absolutely. All right, well, we are back. We are back. Hello, welcome. We are back. We are sitting here with Dan Brunn. It is a pleasure. Thanks for coming over.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I've already been having fun with you, but I anticipate having more fun here. What's going on, man?
We're going to cause some trouble, I think. That's what's going on.
All right,
That's
I
what it
forgot
sounds
how
like.
boomy you are. I'm going to turn your mic down just a tiny bit.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. You're so fucking...
Yeah, I know.
You're
Usually,
good at projecting.
usually I
Wonderful.
don't need a mic. That's usually what I end up coming. I mean, with things it is, but they won't be able to hear that otherwise. But yeah.
No, but it's great.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons you're where you are and doing the things you're doing, which we were talking about before.
My voice.
No.
I'm kidding.
The command behind the voice.
Yes, probably the authoritative voice, or maybe the authority on something.
Is it safe to say you're an architect first because that's what you do professionally?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I mean,
so Dan Brunn, architect.
yeah, I think of multiple things that I do, but definitely,
That's what I think too.
Definitely, I've chosen that to be my profession, and I keep the other things as a passion. It's not inhibited by anything, which I love.
Nice.
So like you mentioned music, so it's like for me, I don't have to make a dollar. I don't have to please anybody with it. If I write a song, if I perform a song, somebody doesn't like it, or I don't care.
What you like.
What I like. Well,
all that
the
matters.
funny thing is, the architecture is almost the same, though.
I bet.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, it's designed one way or the other, right?
Yeah, but we have like a secret, and it's like I call it empathetic design, and it's basically listening to what my client wants, whether it be commercial, residential, whatever, hospitality, but really fine-tuning in on that and responding to that instead of like using your big ego right at the beginning, right? So it's like a lot of people will just say, "Oh, this is what I want," and just give that back to you. You can't win that. So if you listen and then reply, we're good. So we don't do like iterations.
That was not very dissimilar to that story we were talking about before, reacting and not reacting.
Yeah. So
just observing, taking it all in.
Observing and really taking it all in. So I always say it's the moments. And it's like music. It's the moments of you have the notes, right? That's what you write down in the music. But then there's the air, the in between spots. So it's the same thing that
I want
happens.
to kiss you right now.
It's the same thing that happens when you talk to somebody, right? So you're asking somebody, okay, we'll just do residential design, and somebody says, I like this, I like this, I like this. It's also good to hear what they don't like, and a lot of people don't think they need to share that. So what I do is I'll invite myself to somebody's house, and I'll be like,
To
don't
see
clean
how
up.
they live currently.
Yes, because people generally are not that quick to adapt. And they have their own way of living, and you kind of want to be able to respect that while still creating something new. So you have to
100%.
understand that, like the tight spaces. What is tight could mean
What does it mean
To
to
you,
Yes.
right?
It's different.
Warm.
It's
I love the
every-
definition. I want something warm. What does that mean?
Yeah.
You
I asked
know?
someone, like a dude one time, I wanted to introduce him. I was thinking about maybe introducing him to a girlfriend. I was like, what kind of girls do you like? He's like, I like babes. I'm like, I don't know what that means. It sounds so similar. Of
Yes.
Like, I like small rooms. Like, what's
Yeah.
a small
What does
room?
that mean? What is cozy to you?
Yeah.
Well, warm can be temperature, it can be texture, it can be lighting, it can
Lighting,
be
yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all relative.
It could be feng shui. I mean,
Yeah.
the way everything's set up.
Yeah. You got to really figure that out.
I don't know where to start with you
Okay.
because I'm kind of fascinated with not only what you do, but certainly specifically one of the projects that you're working on right now, which is your Bridge House LA. Can we
Oh,
talk about that?
of
Just
course.
starting
Actually-
off because I'm the guy.
Actually,
What
so
is
I
this?
kept that while we were talking, but this is for you guys. This is a
Oh my
Lego
gosh.
model of Bridge House
No.
made by a friend of mine, Bruce Heller, and Cornerstone brick design.
This
Whoa.
is the coolest, and I'm so the guy for this. It's going to go
That's-
on
yeah.
the set. This is awesome. Thank
That's
you.
amazing.
Yeah, so build
Thank
it.
you.
It comes out like 6
I used to
inches.
love the House Industries block set for the Eames house
There
for
you
the
go.
same reason. This is very, very cool.
Yeah.
So
enjoy
you
that.
know I was a docent at the Eames house, and I know
Yes.
the history of the
Yes.
whole design
Yes.
and the whole the relationship with Nintendo and the whole thing in the case study program. How much of that history did you put into your very personal, current, contemporary, modern project?
Okay,
like, this is
so-
happening now. It's not some tribute or anything like that.
No. So okay. So let's put this into perspective. So I grew up in Tel Aviv, and Tel Aviv is a Bauhaus city. Basically, it's called UNESCO. It's a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. It's called the White City. It has the most amount of Bauhaus architecture there is in the world.
Wow.
So I grew up around that, right? So like sliding glass doors, terrazzo floors, open plan was
Stunning.
normal. Okay, so then I moved here to the States, and I was in 1986, and I was 7 years old.
And you were
And
enclosed.
and I was like, what the fuck is this? Why am I living in a
Look at all these
Spanish
walls.
colonial blah, 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 blah? I'm like, there's no light, there's nothing. This doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so then,
if you want your house to be the thing, it's perfect.
Yeah.
But typically the stuff that we were talking about and what you grew up
Yeah.
with, what I grew up with, mid-century modern stuff in the
Yeah,
in England,
and a house is...
you become part of
Yeah.
the surroundings and everything.
Yeah.
It's a symbiotic relationship
Yeah,
with the inside
absolutely.
and outside.
And a house is like a machine for you to work and live better. And these other houses are not of the vernacular and they don't work better. So then I went to USC for undergrad in architecture. And the funny thing is there was one of the founders of, not founders, one of the main architects from the case study movement, Pierre Koning.
Oh.
He was teaching there, and he did the case study House 22. That's the famous one that juts out. Everybody's seen the photos of that.
Yeah.
And so he was,
It's the stall house, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So he was one of my teachers, and all of a sudden I'm walking around with a legend. So it's really in my blood. And
what's the just because everyone knows the house you're talking about, I'm trying to think of it. It's Julius
Shulman.
Shulman
Yeah.
took the famous photo of the girl sitting in the chair. Yeah.
And she wasn't supposed to be there.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
It's way up in the hills, and it's almost the room is like over the cliff,
Yeah.
and it's sort of this type of an evening in Los
Unbuildable
Angeles.
site is what it was supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So Bridge
But that's
House,
the house. It's an incredibly
that's
famous house.
The like modernist house in Los Angeles, I would say. And Bridge House lives, I'm trying to push that forward, right? So I'm trying to say, okay, well, the case study house movement was really profound, really important, and it taught us to rethink how a house is made.
I agree.
And I'm trying to keep that going. Not as a tribute, but let's keep it moving.
It was
Let's
a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great idea. So, like, Bridge House is made out of a all-steel system of parts made a company called Bone Structure, and it's 90% recycled steel content.
That's
crazy.
amazing.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. Net zero home. It's all solar-powered.
Where is it physically located?
It's
Because
just
this is built. I mean, this is not done, but it's
95% done right now. And we're going to unveil it in the summer.
Congratulations.
Thank
This
you.
is amazing.
And
I hope you'll come back when that's happening or
Oh,
invite
yeah.
us to the event.
Let's bring the
'cause we
show
would
there.
love
We'll
to.
do
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Great.
So just close to Hancock Park, just south of Hancock Park. So like
Oh, no
Highland and
kidding.
Wilshire, which is
Oh.
crazy. So
That's
that's the
not
other
at
thing.
all
So,
where I would have
no,
expected.
No.
No, so we could share the story. That's the idea with it too. So it's like
And it's right almost in the
Mid-city.
the Museum Row or whatever
exactly,
they call it.
exactly. So it's like Highland and Wilshire area.
Was that by design for you? So
It's just
that it was,
okay. So I live across the street right now. So this is
So it's convenience.
yeah. So this all happened out of just pure luck. I live across the street. The area is called Brookside, and I was like, this is a phony LA name for anything, right? It's like everything is like Crest View. You're like, what the? It's all bullshit,
Yeah.
right?
LA
So-
River Road.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my neighbor from the other side of the road was like, hey, Dan, you must come over to my house. Check this out. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure, whatever. See my yard. I'm like, I have a yard, and it sucks, so let's see your yard. And I literally walked to the house, and I did one of those, like, cartoon things. Like, you walk through the house, and it was like, I was like, am I really seeing this right now? There's a brook in the middle of your backyard.
Whoa.
And that's
That's
why it's
such
called
a-
Brookside.
Yeah, that's such a
And the
not
bro-
for
No.
not for this area.
It's not in
Unbelievable.
LA.
And
Not of this area.
No. And it's coming from Griffith Park. It goes down Highland and La Brea.
It's just a
comes
natural
up for a few
spring.
houses. Yep. And then it goes down to Bayona Creek out in Marina del Rey.
Whoa.
And it's a 260-foot long lot by 60 feet wide. So it's about 15,000 square feet, which is also unheard of in the middle of LA.
I was going to say that's
Yeah.
It's
also
unheard
large.
of. And so then...
That area especially, like,
I know.
it's not residential.
No.
It's like, I used to go to a chiropractor near there in a strip mall. Like,
it's like, yeah,
that
it's a close,
sounds
like...
beautiful.
Yeah.
Hancock Park is where the money and the nice houses are. There's no property there either.
Yeah.
You
No.
know what I mean? So
This-
this is a large lot.
This is a large lot. And then, so I renovated my house where I live in. And as that was happening, the house where Bridge House is at was like this dilapidated old home. The caretaker was there. And actually, this is where music comes in. So I ended up befriending the caretaker. And I was like, hey, come check out my band. And so we were doing these shows. And she would come over. She's like, oh, yeah. She became like a #1 fan. It was kind of obsessive.
Holy shit.
And then, like, one day she calls me. She's like, whatever the woman's name is, she's passed away. Would you be interested in
from the
purchasing-
dilapidated house.
Yes. Would you be interested in purchasing this lot? I was like, of course. And so that happened.
Wow.
Nice.
And then the
So
idea
now you've
originally
got
was to renovate the house. And
Oh, just as a flip. You
Yeah.
just were
And I
thinking
was-
of it
I
as
was
an
like,
opportunity.
yeah. And then, lo and behold, I just, one night, I don't know how ideas come to me. It was like, instead of building a house, so like the really cool thing I think about the house is forget like the design of what it looks like. It's the fact that I've obliterated the idea of a suburban home, front yard, house, rear yard. That's gone. You just have a house that's continuing the whole length of the yard, and continual views connecting that to the nature, and that's the beauty of the house.
Theoretically, in numbers, that would work as well, scaled, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So it's
That's
pretty
You know what I
That's
mean? Like you would need to
beautiful.
redo. It's like anti-lock brakes or no anti-lock
Yeah,
brakes. You kind of have
exactly.
to go all the way.
Yeah, you
but
kind of
once
have to
you
exactly.
do,
And then I went all the way, and I was like,
but that works though.
yeah. And the stress of getting it done is insane. But then, yeah, I mean, the whole house, you know, we have like crazy sponsors that are putting it all thing together. It's been a dream. It's been a real dream.
Well, so this was your crazy idea. You said, "Hey, what if?" And then
Yeah.
you know, of course, I'm an architect, so I can build it. Or you know what I mean? I can
Yeah,
dream
yeah,
it.
yeah,
And
of
someone,
course,
can,
of
if I can
course.
dream
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
somebody can build
build
it. So you have then the lot and the whole thing. I don't understand how you got to, boom, I'm going to do this whole thing. Like, how did the bridge thing come about? Oh, well, there's this brook here, so I have to overcome it?
Yeah.
Or I wanted to use
No,
it? Or
basically, instead of having the typical residential lot where you have a house that looks onto the backyard, I want it to be in the backyard. So the only way to do that is to
bring the house there.
bring the house there.
Yeah.
So in the neighborhood, actually, they have like yearly backyard tours, and everybody shows off their bridge. So like you know, they have like little bridges
Over this little creek.
over this little creek, and
sounds
I'm like,
awesome.
no,
Totally.
we're just gonna take the whole house, and the house is gonna be the bridge, right? So, and the way that the house is designed, you have the front yard, the front half, sorry, is all public spaces, so like living room, dining room, kitchen, powder room, garage, all that. So that's where you could invite people. And then right over the brook, like let's say the fulcrum of the seesaw, is an outdoor living room.
Oh.
And then past that are the bedrooms. And so that's it. You're
This is
private.
all within the same.
the same. Yeah.
Very cool.
So it's 210
So there's like a
feet
lanai
long.
built in or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Whew, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
it's gonna be.
I
yeah.
get space, so you know.
Yeah,
I
of course,
underst-
of course.
I
Yeah, I
understand.
could see you get space.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
How many bedrooms are like? How big is the building?
It's 4 bedrooms.
Whoa.
And then a 5th downstairs. So like an artist studio down
Oh.
the bottom.
So
yeah.
this is like a modern day family could move into
Oh,
this thing.
absolutely,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
historically the mid-century moderns were a little
Our
more
yeah.
stature
So-
was a
yeah.
little smaller.
So actually, on the lot, I could have built a 10,000 square foot lot. That, let's say a typical LA
House?
developer would have done a 10,000. This is a 4,500 house.
No kidding.
Yeah.
But the whole point was to utilize that rear yard. I mean,
Exactly.
why would you just make
Exactly.
it go away
Exactly.
for the sake of square footage?
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by this whole thing. If you can't tell,
Yeah.
I really, really think it's
Well, you're
cool.
gonna get to it when you build a little Lego model. You'd be like, "Oh, that's the outdoor living room he was talking about."
Totally.
because it's in there.
Well, I
That's
like what you said
awesome.
about the separation too, because even the stall house, which
Yeah.
you mentioned, is sort of built that way. It's not
Yes.
not in a straight line, but it is separate from the common and the private areas.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean,
Yeah.
we unintentionally sort of had that here.
It's
because
very important. Well,
TV
I remember
show.
a teacher of mine one time told me is if you have signage, you've failed as an architect. So like you have like yoga room, like you just told me. Like I asked
Oh,
where's the
you
bathroom.
should
You said follow the
intuitively
natural
know.
light. You should intuitively know. So at Bridge House, you have everything is in one zone, and then you have to cross through a narrower path. And when you're crossing that narrower path, you should
It's a
intuitively
psychological.
know.
Am I supposed to be back here?
Yeah, exactly.
I love this.
Yeah, and so then you're like,
You're such a smart fella.
It implies intimacy. That
yes,
narrowness
it's no
and
longer
the-
your space.
Yeah,
So you shouldn't have to.
I like
tell
that you
somebody.
think about stuff like that.
The idea that
Comes from the
signage
body.
is
failure.
a failure
Yeah.
is really.
I'll give you an
kind of-
example. When you land on an airplane, like when you land, sorry, not on an airplane. When you land in an airport, you should be able to feel the natural light drawing you
Yes.
in to the baggage claim. You should be able to feel
so that you know out.
Yeah, you know
like a
out.
casino.
You know
So
where
you
to
flex-
go.
yeah,
You have a feeling of
Yeah.
like that guides you where,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
direction.
So you try to do that. I mean, I do.
Have you designed airports?
Not yet.
Oh my God!
It's gonna be.
Please do. Some of them don't do that.
No.
All right, you've fulfilled a little bit of what my little nerdery.
okay.
What kind of projects do you work on? This was a passion project.
This is a
that
total
you're
passion
doing.
project.
What kind of stuff do you do professionally that your firm covers?
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Anything from furniture.
You're kidding.
No, yeah, we've done some furniture. We've done.
So if we do need this replicated, you're the guy.
I'm the guy. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
so
know how
cool.
to get it done. Maybe like updated to Jay Ryan version. And you know, so we've done like hospitality. We've done cafes, coffee shops.
Wow.
Restaurants, retail. Now we're doing actually a store in Las Vegas, which is so exciting. Actually.
Is this your first thing in Vegas?
Yeah, it's the first
That's a
thing in
nice
Vegas.
place to
Ye-
break into right
yeah,
now. 'cause
it
it's
is.
constant development.
Yes, yeah. So it's really exciting. I mean, I remember like when I walked in, I was like, we're doing this. I'm like, I'm doing this.
You don't want to piss off the guys there, the goons
No,
there.
no, there's serious
You
goons
play
there.
play by the rules if you
talking
go to
about
Vegas.
goons.
That stuff we were talking about.
Yeah. So we're doing that, and then we also do, we do the residential, like single family and those are passion as well too.
Really?
Yeah, because I try to find like a family or whoever it is that's doing it that you want to work with. It's a marriage. You end up like 5 years together.
Right. So you're taking, if you're going to take it on, it's a commitment.
It's
and
a
you're gonna
personal
make that
project.
Yeah,
at
it's a
that
personal
point.
project.
Like,
You mentioned Jeff Lewis the other day.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Oh, yeah.
he call it dating? Like because it's
Yes.
a relationship with the client.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
And there's
I've
all the
gone
different-
through a divorce with a client.
Sure. Right. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm like, oh.
that's
boy.
a really good way to look at it. It's how I should look at my PR stuff from before. Like,
Yeah.
it's similar.
Why is it so similar? Because I agree with you too. But what is it that why is the tie so strong?
strong?
The bond. Yeah.
You're designing somebody's domicile. You're designing somebody where they live, sleep, eat, shit, fuck, all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the best clients are the ones that actually tell me. They don't try to skirt around it. Like, it's like, oh, I need a bench in the shower.
Oh, I get your point. Yeah.
So you
right.
find
We have
out
sex in
everything.
every room of the house, or
It
we
affects
only do it over here, or
I need to know these things.
That's so funny.
I mean, if that's important to them, right? So it's like we get into all of that
Sure.
stuff. So you become very, very intimate, right? And you become very intimate where you find out their schedules, you find out how they wake up, everything.
because it's all important. If you're playing with
To me,
light
it
and
is.
everything else,
So it's not just creating a white box. It's a lot deeper.
You
than
don't
that.
just make condos that you can, like, here's
No.
a one bedroom, here's a two bedroom.
No,
Like,
and we
you're
won't work
really
on that. We
clear
will
and
never work
specific,
on
it
that.
sounds like.
We won't be
Okay.
the fit to do that.
So it sounds like retail is kind of where you're at, just because you get to be really creative.
I love the retail stuff, and I love the
Yeah?
hospitality stuff.
What's the
because
one in Vegas?
It's retail. It's a
Yeah.
store, and it's actually the brand is doing this. It's RTA. They're
you look very nice, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah,
Clearly a man of design.
We did their store on Melrose in LA,
Okay.
close to the Pacific Design Center. Now we're doing the one there, and it's got a slight like Vegas touch to it, But
You mean glitz and glamour kind of thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. To make somebody that's there to feel special. We decided like early on that each one of their stores will fit the geography that they're located, like to be local. So it's like no matter what we touch, it has that feel to it, right?
Yeah.
So this is LA, this is Vegas, New York, etc.
I would hate to use as an example, but like a Fry's or Trader Joe's. But
Oh,
they're,
yeah,
all,
yeah.
they're all different, and they all do somehow
well, Fry's, I mean,
personify
I'm sure you
the
geeked
area.
there too. I mean,
Well, that area has a specific personality. I used to work near there, so
Yeah.
like to be able to be ingratiated, it's kind of a animal thing.
Yeah.
Like look
Oh,
like
animalistic.
Yeah.
Animal. No, but it's funny because people are like, "Oh, retail's dead." I'm like, "Retail 1.0 is dead. 2.0, whatever you want to call it, is so alive."
Yeah.
And if you figure it out, people want experience. People want real experience. Everybody, we got our iPhones. We're into it. We're ingrained. But they want to be able to touch. Like, I talked about the desk. I was like, "Oh, wow, it's actually soft here." I had no idea.
And when you do,
Then,
it's
yeah.
that experience.
And they want experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, we want to create them an LA experience, a Vegas experience, whatever
Awesome.
that is, specific to that. So it makes the clientele, the fan, want to go to those spaces. Otherwise,
Otherwise,
why?
it's the same as every
Yeah,
other
exactly.
store. Yeah.
Exactly.
We used to love the design. I can't remember what it was called now. We used to go All Saints. They have all the singer, and it's
the
a
sewing
very
machines.
unique thing. And we went to the first one up in San Francisco, of course. And it was beautiful, Union Square. And we were so overwhelmed by it. It was like, oh, this is the greatest store. They have the greatest stuff. And there was one here, and we went to the Beverly Center, and we went to the one in Santa Monica Place, and it was kind of like it wore off immediately
Very
because
quickly.
the one in San Fran was for sure nicer, and then all these other ones were just little tiny knockoff carbon copies of it. And I hate to say we love All Saints stuff. It's not that. But this seems to be like, oh, why would you go to this Hard Rock Cafe? Well, because it's in fucking Poland or wherever it happens to be. Like, that's where I am.
Apple's doing it right. I was just in
They're changing it up?
Oh, my God. They're
No
unique
kidding.
now. The new ones are unique. So I went to the one in Paris, and I was like, what? This is a whole different experience. And
What have they changed? What's it
well,
like?
they over there they use the existing building, the Beaux-Arts building. They renovated it. There's an inside atrium with big trees, and they've got like a living room
trees.
experience. There's all different
So they're
kinds
not
of
putting
things.
used
their
to be
clear
so
box
cold.
No
wherever
more.
they are.
No. They're
Oh.
being very diligent to create like a Chicago experience, which is on the
Cool.
waterfront, to create a San Francisco,
great.
which is on in Union Square, and it's got each one of them has a touch.
That's
Neat.
cool.
Which I think is super important.
The one they built up in near the mothership, but is I guess it's maybe
Oh,
Palo
yeah, yeah,
Alto
yeah.
with the
Oh
flat
my
roof and everything.
God.
Stuntsville.
Stunning. Yeah,
Holy
I know,
crow.
Cupertino.
Is that where it is?
Yeah.
If they were going to do something like that, and make them all different. Like, holy crow, you've got me for life, man.
I know.
That building is so beautiful.
So beautiful. They push the limits like crazy. If you go on the stairs, I'm like, oh my god, it's an earthquake. I'm like, nope. It's like,
and it's supposed to.
Yeah. I'm like, it's like moving up and down a little bit. I'm like, I like it. They push the limits. You know, it's like
a skyscraper kind of thing.
Yeah. You know,
where it sways, like if you're in the top floors.
Yeah, it's built to give.
It's built to give. It's
built
to
a suspension bridge.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'm one of those that gets so like blown over by it. The bad pun.
When you're like at a mall, even if you're at a mall and I remember being at a food court when I was a kid, and just you're kind of sitting there, but some kid will run by, the whole place flexes and moves. Yeah. So it's because it's built to, I guess.
It's built to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's built to and resonate. Yeah.
Are those are all tolerances that you just have rolling around in the back of your head because you have
some
to factor
of it.
them in whenever?
You kind of know, like, I think you have to understand physics, just generally, but not really apply it, just to understand, okay, well, this proportion works, this won't.
Yeah, but then because you're designing, you can then lean on magic a little bit too, like this set, right? Because it's none of this stuff in here is real.
Yes.
Does that make sense? It looks really great from over there, but once you get in here, it's all phony TV bullshit.
Yep. So, but I've done some phony stuff, or like maybe like I would say the forced perspective and playing with that. So we did this one restaurant with a really long space, and I played with the ceiling and I angled it.
Ooh.
So to give it even a longer,
almost a tunnel effect.
So So and everybody's like, "Whoa, that's not what it felt like before." I'm like, "Yeah, well, it's magic." Right. So that's like set design.
It's the same type of force.
Yep. Forced perspective.
Super cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I love all that stuff.
I love it.
I love the magic because you get to.
I love it. Just
somebody thinks it's one thing and it's not.
It's not.
It sounds like
it sounds
like
neat.
Yeah. I don't know. What's your favorite type of thing that you? What's your favorite project you've ever worked on? How about that? But that was your company. And then maybe one before.
Each one, I don't know. I mean, each one answers to a different thing, and it's temporal. Like I'll feel like all of a sudden, like, wow, we kicked ass with that. And sometimes it could also be just the feat of getting something done. Like
might not be the project itself.
Might not be the project itself, but just let's maybe a city bureaucratic event that happened in order to realize a project, or it could have been a really tough client, and we were able to win them over.
You overcame.
So I think each one of them has something else. I'm really proud of. We finished a project, a coffee shop called Coffee for Sasquatch, and
okay.
I'm really proud of it. It's on Melrose and La Brea.
Oh, here in town.
Yeah,
cool.
And I'm really proud of it because it has this aura and the feeling that we were able to capture, and to have a multiplicity of seating positions, and like you could,
what do you mean by that?
Like you could sit with your friend and just discuss and have a coffee,
like at a couch type of situation.
Yeah, but let's but not a couch. There's no couch.
Oh, okay. So I should.
That's what
I'm not going to interject.
Yeah. So there's no. Let's put it this way: environmentally or physically, it all looks the same, like design-wise, almost. But it's the nuances of the design and the shapes and the sizes that let you create a place where you could be intimate to have a date. You could be on a place to sit with two laptops. You could be a place to do like an interview for an employee. Anything you want.
Is this all how it's used, or is it because the environment is modular?
The environment was designed to accept that.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so I'm really proud that that works.
That's so
wild.
That's really cool.
You never know if it's gonna work. You just think that it's going to work.
Well,
and
it sounds very hard.
It's
modular is its own thing to work with,
yeah.
But then if you're doing something, this is static,
yeah.
But it'll work for all these different things. It's really impressive.
And
like
it's
tiny
sinuous,
homes a lot.
And it does it has all these little moments, and I'm really proud of it. And what I love about like projects like that is I get to see the reaction, right? Because it's public. And so people like on Instagram will write like my favorite coffee shop in LA, my this, they'll keep doing that, and you see, and they'll write even beyond saying that the coffee is excellent, which it is, and they have specialty drinks, etc. But people will notice the design and write about it. So I'm like, yes,
wow.
The space
people
is
exist,
part of the love for that place. That's
and
so
people come back for it.
Also, it shows me your design is in the right place.
Yeah. Yes,
and the right time.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, absolutely.
I know, and so that to me is a project I'm very proud of, just because of that.
Coffee for Sasquatch.
Coffee for Sasquatch.
And it's here in
LA. You
LA.
gotta check it out. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Melrose
for everybody else,
you gotta check it out. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, we have this green wall on there. That's like a living green wall, and it has the figure of Sasquatch, and it looks like he's running through the forest.
That's
kind of a
so
thing.
cool.
So it's all like
the old photo.
Yes, yes, you got exactly that. So like I love like Alice in Wonderland, like Lewis Carroll and all that to play with.
Whimsy and
Exactly.
Sure.
Exactly.
Love
While still
that.
looking, you know.
Man, it's amazing. I'm so excited to become friends with you.
Yeah. Me too. It's gonna be fun, you know.
You talk in such a beautiful, artistic, cool, inclusive way. It's
Thanks.
really fun to hear the two of you talk. It's
Yeah.
it's artistic community.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
But
I'll
it's
take
pretty,
it
It's
too,
pretty
right?
nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mrs.
Yeah.
I mean, you're here too.
I like these beautiful conversations. You
Yeah.
don't always get to have them when you're focused on like how to sell shit. So
True.
this is different.
Yeah, that's
True.
a good point.
I love
This
it.
is why I enjoy it too. That's
Yeah.
And good for you. Carol Leifer, that was her advice. Enjoy it. Enjoy this
Enjoy
whole
it.
process. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Even your successes, like, oh, then the process ends at some point.
It does.
You know what I
Like
mean?
you were
And
saying.
that, especially with your work.
Yeah. And you know, it's like people have to understand, you know, like they ask me like things, they're like, "Oh my god, you're so successful," or "You're having such a great time," blah blah. Yes.
That's all subjective too.
Exactly. And
You know what I
I think people need to understand is that there's no such thing as 100% full happiness, full throttle all your life. It
Yeah.
doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that continuing on, it's going to be like it's a upwards battle, and there's going to be drops.
Incrementally up, yeah.
But you got to accept that when the drop happens, pick your shit up and let's climb back up.
It'll be higher the next time.
If you force it, and
Yes.
if you work your ass off to make it happen.
Yes.
Some people will go this and then, oh shit, my life just fucked. No, it's really you
is
gotta,
that lack of commitment, do you think?
Yes, majorly, and I see that all the time.
Discipline, maybe?
Discipline and commitment, and understanding that it's not all easy. You know, like I guess I have to say I'm absolutely really lucky that I love what I do, and I was able to use that as my profession, so I could keep persevering.
Makes a big difference.
But there's a lot of days where you're like,
Yeah.
somebody's gonna die.
This isn't it.
Yeah,
This isn't it. It's not worth it.
yeah.
I'm cashing
It's
it all
still
in.
part of
Selling
the
the
same
business.
ride.
I'm selling the business.
Yep, absolutely.
We're walking out.
I think once a month everybody has to have that
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the process, man.
Yeah.
Those are the valleys.
Yeah. Yeah, I took a cooking class one time, and I was like, "We're walking out."
Yep. Right?
I was like, "I don't like
Simpler
this.
life.
I don't like this. This is too hard. I was supposed to be drinking and eating, not doing this. We're
That's
walking
right.
out."
That's right. Where's the whining and dining?
Exactly.
It's all whining.
Somebody told on us in the class, and so they told us oh, we can't drink any more
tattled
wine.
on you?
Yeah, freaking
No
losers.
thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a cooking class and
was
you
a
were
cooking
drinking
class.
and they didn't want you to?
And they didn't want us to like have wine. There.
Doesn't Emerald drink?
Everybody, come
Not
on.
that he's the
it was
only
a bottle
chef.
of wine, and we shared it with 4 people.
That's not even drinking. When I used to drink, that wasn't even drinking.
I mean, maybe the problem is the class started at 8 a.m.
Good comedic storytelling there. Very good. Very good.
Hilarious.
Can we talk about music just for a little bit? Because I also have a background from way in the past of music, and you have a band currently, so music is a part of your life.
Absolutely, yeah.
Tell us in
Well,
what
the
way,
band
what kind
is
of music?
This banded right at this point, so it doesn't have it that current.
Okay.
But I still continue on my own, right? So like my
What do you play?
I play guitar mostly and piano, and so my guitar is my drug of choice. Really, it's like necessary. When I lived in Italy for a bit, the first thing I did, like the first week, I went and bought a guitar. You know, like I
Oh,
needed.
just because you have to have one.
I need to have one.
on
I need to
standby,
have
yeah.
one. Yeah, I need to have one. It's like my place to release energy and like, you know, so I write songs and I sing and I do all that.
You have a bad phone call or something like that, and then whatever, you get off and you.
Yeah. You
Goes-
find, yeah,
yeah.
definitely. You
Yeah.
know, and it's a place to release energy. You know, and that's
In a good creative way. Yeah.
So you know, writing a lot of songs has helped me. You know, and do that. So
So you play, you write,
Yeah.
compose.
yeah, write, compose, and sing, and put the whole thing together. So I also like produced. You know, like
Your album certainly.
yeah, to put it all together.
So did you say what kind of music?
Like rock and roll. Like, you know, I was inspired heavily by Beatles. You know, that's
No
what
kidding.
that's what I grew up with. You know, it's like my
Love
parents,
music.
Yeah. So my parents played me the Beatles when I was in Israel, and evidently,
Really?
Yeah.
All the way in Israel?
yeah, and evidently I was told. I mean, not I was told. Yeah, my mom told me. Yeah, I was told. When I was 7 years old, I came up to her and I said, "Mom, when I grow up, I want to be a singer, but in English." So evidently,
No
that's what I wanted
way.
to be. Yeah.
So you knew that then?
Yeah, because I was singing along to like Duran Duran. I was like, please, please tell me now. And I was like, I don't even know what I'm singing, but I was like making the sounds, you know. I had
amazing.
a huge poster of Duran Duran, like a 6-foot big thing, and I like
In
Simon Le
Israel?
Bon. Oh yeah, for sure. Come
Did
on.
you say how old you were when you moved away from Tel Aviv?
7.
Oh, so that's really young.
Yeah, I mean, music was huge for me, really large.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Were you playing anything at that age? or
Piano.
just- You were, and you had one in the house. So
yeah,
you were
my
able
mom
to.
plays piano, and so I had a piano.
So you were taking lessons too?
Yeah, and I hated it.
Yeah.
I gave up piano, I think around 12 years old.
Same.
I hated it. You know, I was like
But
sent,
you have the ability to keep playing. Yeah.
And I was like sent to, you know, to like compete in things, like writing songs, all that shit.
really?
You know? Yeah, it sucks. And I hated the music. You know, like why was I writing a classical song? You know, I wanted to play the Beatles. Like I wanted to do that. And so then I got a guitar, and it changed.
Was it before you realized how much crossover there actually is between what you just said, like
I had no
even
idea.
classical
I mean,
and
no,
the Beatles?
not really, because I wasn't taught
Every
chords.
song is Pachelbel Canon.
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
yeah.
it ends up being at the end of the day.
Yeah. So then I retaught myself piano. I was like, okay, this is a chord and this is that, you know, and like, okay, this is cool.
To work with your brain.
Yes.
That's how I learned as well. And I don't play piano properly, but I can play anything I've ever heard in my life.
There you go. That's all that matters, you know. So it's like, and then some people ask me that okay, so I had a friend who's a real professional musician. He asked me like, what do I do? I'm an architect, right? So
Sure.
I sent him the song. He's like, Dan, do you realize what you've done here? I was like, I have no fucking clue. He's like, well, you've done the diminished this, you've
all
changed
sorts of complexities,
yes,
right?
all sorts of complexity, and you've changed the timing from 5/4 to 4/5 to 4/8. I'm like,
Because you made it interesting for you.
I have no idea what I did. I'm like, and I honestly think that maybe if I did, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I would have done like,
You would have
well,
overthought
now
it.
it's the diminished 7 goes to the A minor, goes to.
You're
and
exactly right.
And I would have lost it. You know,
Overthought it. Strangled it.
At the same time, when I did have like my guitar teacher work with me and I wrote songs, he'd be like, change that A7 to, and it was awesome because all of a sudden it connected. You know, like I would have like hard transitions. He'd be like, okay, you just need to add this. So it's really nice.
This is the age-old problem, right?
Yeah.
Of the artist and then the one who keeps them in line.
Yeah, so you need that. You know, like you need
Yeah.
that collaboration.
Yes.
You know?
It's important.
It's important. And that, you know, if we go back to the Beatles, that's how they learned with, like, George Martin was in their producer, and he would be like, wait a minute, like, you guys have all these ideas, but let me just...
Really? It was
Harness
him
them
that kind
into a
of...
certain-
Oh, for sure. They didn't know how to do that at the beginning. Then they
See,
did.
I don't know enough of the history about that
Yeah.
that time and the music
Yeah.
of that time and the people involved. So I didn't realize he was the one that kind of orchestrated the
Totally.
flow of all that.
Totally. At the beginning, yeah. It's like, it helped a
Oh.
lot, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's amazing.
So how often do you get to play? I mean, you have a guitar in your office that you probably pick
In
up
the
every
guitar,
once
in
in a
office,
while.
never. I mean, like, I'm a very compartmentalized kind of a person.
Oh, good for you.
You know, so it's like my office is...
So when you're working, you're
is
working.
I'm working, and like everybody, like that's like I give them like a mini tour of Bridge House. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna move the office here? Hell no,
No.
I can't do that." You know, like I know I won't sleep.
Boy, I'm kind of an idiot. What is the intention with Bridge House? Are you going to live there? Or
Yeah.
You are. So this
Yeah.
is going to be your home.
Yeah,
I'm
Okay,
so
so the
silly. It
idea-
never even occurred to me. I thought in my mind it's going to be a design space. It'll be a calling card. People will go there.
it
It'll
will be
open
a
to the
calling
public.
card, but the idea with it. Okay, so let's backtrack. So we have all these.
I'm bouncing all around,
we have all
forgive
these
me.
sponsors, right? So the idea with getting all the sponsors is to create a place to create like the quintessential like classical salon style discussion. So we'll be able to invite
Whoa.
people and over and to be able to see how the house of the future can be built, right? So
This
It's
is
a show home with your
fantastic.
family as an example, right?
yeah, and
Kind of.
and it's a
This is the-
testament, right? It's
this
the
is the
real
original.
deal.
Yeah.
It's not.
I'm not telling you what I think will happen.
This is
like
what
this is
I
what
want to
happened.
happen.
So what many other people may not realize is you are actually, it sounds like, basically reinstituting the case study program, because
Absolutely.
this is exactly what John and Tenza built it on. There was all these different ones because everybody had a different take on what the modern future way of building should be. So he and his magazine at the time funded this entire project. So the Eames didn't pay the $50,000 or whatever it cost to build their house. John and Tenza and this program did. It's very similar. They got sponsors involved to build these houses.
Yeah.
But yet the designer and the whoever's idea it was, they were going to live in this house.
So
like
it's
the Eames is.
exploratory, kind of.
Absolutely,
at
and
the
we're
end of
trying
the
things
day.
that let's
That's
say a
really
client would
neat.
never do
Yeah.
because it hasn't been built before that way. So we have like even the shower system is unique, right? So it's like the waterproofing for the shower system.
Really?
And it's something that, let's say, in Europe they've used more, in Asia they've used more, in America is resistive to change.
Yeah.
Because, and especially California because of lawsuits. I'm like, yo,
On regulations,
let's do it. Let's do it. You know, so a lot of these things. We have also, you know, like pivot glass doors that are oversized. I'm like, we could do this. And then
Where?
we're-
That's so
That's
cool.
They're
Like
10 feet by 10 feet each door, and it's just like you know.
Steve Jobs' mind, though, is just like, we're going to do
We're
it,
gonna
so
do
let's
this.
just do
Yeah,
it.
and so
Sounds
I have the opportunity to do it because I am the end user, and I'm not going to fuck it up, you know.
That's so awesome to me. It's not, I mean, it's glorifying it a little bit, but it's not dissimilar to like the Disneyland House of Tomorrow because it's all of these ideas. It's a space to share ideas.
It's a space to share ideas.
in your
Exactly.
own way, like what you think tomorrow is.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
When are you going to move into it?
June, it looks like.
Dan, this is so exciting. We're so excited for you.
Thank you. No, we'll
I had no idea. This is like.
Oh yeah, no, it's
I'm so proclaimed.
It's a big yeah.
It has its own. It has its own Facebook page, right?
Or
not Facebook.
It has a
Instagram
page. At Bridgehouse LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
cool.
Everybody should go check it out. 'Cause
bridgehouseleA.com.
The build photos are there. The design
Yeah,
photos.
yeah.
It's super, super cool.
Oh, I'm gonna go look it up and stalk your Instagram.
I know
That
I'm a
sounds
nerd,
so
and
neat.
That's
this is
good.
genuinely the things that I'm interested in. And
Yeah.
your creativity seems to be, I don't know, maybe it's almost like aspirational. Like I wish that I had done that in a secret way. Like,
That's
I
good.
never wanted to be an architect, but yet I kind of always did. I always wanted to drive a Saab and a Volvo and do all this stuff.
No, when I hear people say that, I'm like, I've done well then, you know, because if you're inspiring somebody to feel that.
Specifically, where I grew up was an artist colony. It was Silver Mine, Connecticut.
Okay.
And there would just happen to be a lot of architects, a lot of mid-century moderns, a lot of Volvos.
Really? a lot of Volvos I know, and the Saabs.
A lot of Saabs, because they're quirky little weird splashy
of course,
choices,
of
you
course.
know.
We like to
What's
be-
really good, but not what everyone else is doing.
Exactly.
What's a different way?
What's a different way of doing things?
Yeah. Do you apply that sort of same logic to everything that you do?
I just try to do what's best. I think I don't try to be like, oh well, I'm going to be different because of that. I just
It ends up being different because it's the best.
I think so.
Okay.
You know, so like I had a magazine ask me one time like, what's trending right now? I have no idea.
That's a weird one.
I don't know what's trending.
That's not your job.
That's
Doesn't
not
matter.
It's not me at all. Like I
You should ask the article writing fellow what's trending right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he wanted in the article, you know. But I won't.
No, but you know what?
Yeah, I know
you
what you
take
mean.
my point.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
asking the wrong side.
He's asking the wrong. Yeah, and it's asking the wrong person because I don't follow trends. You know, like I'm very like into like timeless design and timeless
Yes.
thinking. You know, so it's like just the way things work. And I think if you answer to the human body, that's never going to change. I mean, we are who we are. You know, yeah, we evolve, but so slowly.
We might get bigger over time.
Exactly. We
That
are getting
seems to be
bigger.
about it.
Yeah, I know. Airplane seats are getting smaller as we're getting bigger.
Yeah.
I think of the old homes.
I
The
know.
old homes. I mean,
Tiny.
just bedrooms and
Yeah.
things like that.
That's the other
Bathtubs.
thing. Okay,
bathtubs.
bedrooms. That's one of my biggest pet peeves in American like domestic designs. Like the bedrooms are too big.
Yeah.
Okay, like why is there a sitting room and a fireplace and a this and a that in the bedroom? You should be
very
going
interesting.
to the bedroom to do what you need to do and
Depending
get
on your
out.
needs. Depending on your
depending
needs.
on your needs. Equal opportunity here. Everybody's got their needs. But like at Bridge House, and I'll take you, and you'll see the bedrooms are small, but they have
What do you consider small, since it's all relatable, like you said?
bed, side chair, dimension-wise.
I mean,
10 by 10, 10 by 12,
very small.
12 by 12. You know, like American homes, I've seen like 20 by 14.
Because it's to me, it's the classic issue of everything wants to be everything, or
Yeah,
everyone
it
wants to
doesn't.
be everything. And it's like, I get it. We went through that phase, except that, no offense, I love you, but like, I don't want you reading in the bedroom when I'm trying to take a nap. Like,
yeah.
it's all relative
yeah.
to like what you use space for.
Yeah, I agree. And so for me, it's okay. You go to the bedroom to use, you know.
But so I'm picturing within a 10 by something room. I mean, you've got a bed and two end tables, and
That's
that's
it.
it. You're
That's
good.
it.
But
That's
that to
it.
me is,
That's
other
it.
than maybe
And
art or a
beautifully-
design, that's
beautifully
about
placed window that connects you to nature, and a good sized bathroom because I think that's important. That's where you move more, right? And then from there,
it.
Closets, you need that, and then bigger and more thought through living spaces,
Communal spaces. yeah.
communal spaces, and that to me is I think like should be the house of the future. And you can actually downsize the house if you do that.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
so that's
interesting.
what I'm trying to prove. So like, okay, so one of the things people ask like when they do the first tours, how many square feet is Bridge House? I'm like, no.
That has nothing
Don't
to do
ask
with
that question. It's the same question. If you were to buy an iPhone today, you might ask how big the screen size is or how much storage you have on it, which is the same as, you know, how many bedrooms does it have and how many
Bathrooms or
it
whatever,
has.
sure.
But you don't know the speed of the processor. You don't know the actual amperage of the battery.
The numbers don't mean
The numbers
anything.
mean nothing. It just
Yeah.
works damn well. So I try to tell people the same thing goes for houses. Who cares what the house size is? Does it work?
That's the truth of it.
And, you know, so I have like clients who be like, I need a 12-foot tall ceiling. I'm like, why?
Why?
Do you know that you need that?
I would sooner live in a well-designed tiny home than a giant McMansion.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, or the people will ask me, what do you do your ceilings at? I don't have a number.
What do you do? Oh, for
Like
height?
they think that I'm always doing the same thing, and it
You're
has to
not.
do with
That's
the
how some
site.
people are, though. But
I
those are the
know.
people who don't create. They're going, what's the right box for this? Let's put this in it.
So it's like every single time it's something else, and it's like so. Bridge House is 9'6" the ceilings.
And that's your standard?
No, that's no. So it just happens.
It's a joke.
It's a joke. Yeah, what are these? Let's measure. No, I'm kidding.
They're-
Oh, that's so funny.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Man. Well, all right, car stuff.
Yes.
Get to Porsche stuff.
All right.
Because did I describe your 993 at Luftgekuhlt
That's
for
totally
well
right.
enough?
Actually,
it was
and it was-
sitting on a lake.
It was a very well orchestrated thing that by my friend Chris Harrell, who was working with the
Oh, we
people
loved-
at
yeah.
Luft, and he placed the car there.
No kidding.
So it was very. I mean, it was awesome, and I think
There are a half dozen that I remember specifically from that
and it was
shoot,
him.
from that place.
That
And
was him. That was his magic, and he knew how to do that, and he was so dedicated, and even choosing the colors, of that.
100%.
Yeah, and so yeah, the
It was
car
art
became-
directed within an inch of its life. It
Yeah.
was fantastic.
Yeah.
A friend of mine said that once.
No, so it was dramatic, and it became like a sensation. It was like I was like, oh my god! I'm like, my car became like a thing. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Well, it's not bad, and
No,
it was a
it's not.
great time for 993 at the time too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're all timeless. So, how did you get into Porsche? I can probably connect some dots with good design, good heritage, evolution, all of the traditional things.
Exactly. I mean,
Did you like them from when you were a kid up?
when
though?
I moved to America?
Okay.
So in Israel, we had one Porsche. Literally, the whole country had one 911 when I was growing up. It's totally different now. Now there's everything, and there's like Lamborghinis and anything and anything.
Yeah,
you want.
when I watch the YouTube videos now, it seems like there's nothing but.
There's everything. But when I was a kid, it was about modesty, and that's how we grew up. You would never show that.
What happened to that? I don't want to bounce around, but what happened
American
to that?
capitalism.
Is that true?
100%. It changed the culture. Yeah. So that's the only
interesting.
thing that happened. So, I mean,
I didn't mean to get you off topic
No.
there.
But interestingly, in Israel, if you were like an executive, they would never buy you a luxury car. They would buy you, like, if you had a company car, it would be like a Volvo, like a
That's what I was
240.
thinking, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that would be like the good car.
Right.
So, and I
The
remember
reasonable choice.
a reasonable choice. So nobody would do that. So, okay, so when, fast forward, 1986, moved to the States, and all of a sudden I'm seeing these 911s, and they're red and they're black and they're sexy.
Big
and
tail on 'em and a whole
yeah,
bit.
the tail on them, and it's it's LA and it's crazy, and I'm counting.
Oh, you moved straight to LA.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. So
Yeah.
even the movies out at the time now with the Charlie Sheen
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and the cars,
Oh,
are,
yeah.
and you're literally
And
living.
I'm like,
you're
oh
living
my
in the
God,
environment.
I need one.
It's a weird
and
life
actually,
art life mix.
Yeah.
crazy.
my first the house that we lived with my parents was right next to where Beverly Hills Porsche was at the time. It was like on
When
Hamilton.
it used to be in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, Hamilton and Wilshire.
So funny.
So I only realized that now.
That's so funny.
So I fell in love with them, and I was just like, the design was just incredible.
And timeless again.
And timeless. Like they didn't
the-
touch anything, and I just I couldn't handle it. And I was like, I need one of these. And I needed one of these. And then
Even as a kid.
yeah.
Someday.
Yeah, someday. Like, it was an aspirational thing,
100%.
And well, it was that.
Well, they know that too. The commercial said the same thing.
Of course, right? It said like, yeah, you're not driving a Mitsubishi or something like that. I forgot. It was something like that. Like,
They
yeah,
knew- they
you're
knew
not
what
drawing a Mitsubishi. Yeah.
They knew what they had.
Yeah, and so it was less is more, and like the evolution of it, and how do we get this to this perfection?
That makes me the happiest. Less is more.
Yeah, less is more, absolutely. And so I needed to be a part of that, and it.
So when did you first get one?
I got a 911, the 1987, and it was the G50, and that was because
That's
I
the
owed
car, right?
I owed it to myself as a kid.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
Goal achieved.
Goal achieved. I was like, okay. I was like, this is awesome, and I'm driving it around, and an interesting car to drive. Okay, let's put it that way.
Was it a turbo? Did you say?
No, not a turbo.
Okay.
I didn't want a turbo actually.
Right.
I because the less is more is
A lot
gone.
of people. You didn't want a turbo back then.
No.
And right,
Yeah.
less is more. Exactly.
And it's like I didn't
I
want
agree.
those hips. I didn't think it was done well, to be honest. And I know a lot of people be like 930. I'm not your quintessential like Porschephile. I can tell you that, because I'll also tell you that I think that my car generally sucks. Like and people will say like to drive, and like you don't understand the dynamics.
Do you daily yours?
No,
Okay.
no. And you can't daily that car. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm too soft, but you can't. Like, it's so painful. Like, you come out of the car and you're like,
Is yours a 4S or is it 2S?
oh, no, that's the 993 is a
Oh, you're
4S.
talking about your old. You're talking about the G.
Oh, the
G
993 you
daily.
could daily, no problem.
Okay.
I'm talking
No,
about the
okay.
G50.
Yeah, okay.
The G50 is a pain in the ass.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying it's a piece of shit. Like, that car is like, it's gorgeous, it's stunning, it's the culmination of everything to me. It's like all mechanical. It didn't get any.
So you had an 87.
Yeah.
And what was it? What color? What's
It's red.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I
do you
still
still
have
have
it,
it?
yeah.
Oh, so it's the same one.
Yeah, I still have.
Oh,
I
that's
still
so
have the
cool.
87.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I did not sell it.
So you still have your first Porsche?
I still have it. Yeah, and so I have that, and then I drove a friend's 964 Carrera 4, and I was like, this is a whole other beast.
It got
want that
refined
one.
all
I
over.
was like, this is drivable for real. I'm like, this is awesome. Then I'm like,
The inside felt like you were actually inside a car, too,
Yes,
at that point.
yes.
It wasn't sort of half
Yes.
in, half out.
and so then I was like, I don't really love the styling of the 964 because to me it felt like, I don't know, it felt in between. And I've always,
It also wasn't less is more. They added some shit to
I
it.
know, but so is the 993 in a way. But I loved the 993 because it was the culmination of it all. And they actually refined the 964. They refined everything. They got it to be this, to me, it's the ultimate Porsche.
Me
Like,
too. It was the car that got me into Porsche.
Yeah, and so I remember as at USC, there was downtown LA Porsche, and they had a Carrera 2 in the Smurf blue, Mexico blue.
Sure.
And I was just like,
I feel
one
like
day
that
you
was
will be
one of
mine.
the launch cars, so every dealership had one, I think.
Is that what the color was?
I think so,
Okay,
yeah.
so I just was obsessed. And
It was bare bones. It had nothing in it, and the
nothing.
17-inch wheels.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then I made
Did you drive it, or you just got to go, like...
No, I never
drove
drove
over
it.
it?
No.
Okay.
I was like 18 years old, and it wasn't even... Yeah.
Those rules don't apply in this house.
I was test driving them like they were going out of style when
You were a
when I was
kid.
17, 18 years
I
old.
test drove an NSX, I remember, because I had an Acura, and I came in there all like... And they're like, oh, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay, fine.
Yep. You're in the family.
But yeah, and then the 993 I absolutely love.
So how long did you have one before you got the other?
I think it was a difference of 2 years.
Oh, really?
I caught a
So you
bug.
got one, and then you
Yeah.
got the other,
I was
and
like, that's it. I need these. I'm like, they'll fit in my garage. All my friends think I'm absolutely crazy.
for 2 red cars?
Yeah.
Because they're both
and
guards
the
red.
idea of just owning them.
Oh.
Like
Oh.
why wouldn't you sell one? I'm like, no, they're so
Oh,
different.
really? Yeah, they are completely
They're
different.
completely different animals, and I love both of them. Even though I said, piece of shit, I love it.
So the 993, is that a 4S or is
That's
it
a
2S?
4S.
4S.
And that's on purpose. So a lot of people are like, oh, it's not the...
Whatever. It's whatever you like. Whatever
I
you want
love
to
it.
drive.
I absolutely love it, and it handles so damn well, and it's
What kind of driving does Dan Brunn do? Do you take it around and it's always polished up, or do you
No.
like go up into the mountains
go
sometimes?
up into the mountains.
You do. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so when I got the 993, I made sure that it's with a lot of miles. It has 104,000 miles.
Good
on
for
it.
you. So you can
But
drive
it's-
the piss out of it.
Yes.
Bravo.
Yeah, I clean it up, but it's full of miles.
That makes me so
and I don't
happy.
care. So I don't feel like, oh, with the G50, it's got 70,000 miles on it.
Oh my gosh, that's low.
And I'm like,
Nice.
It's
It's a thought.
a
versus thinking it,
and
not
it's
thinking
also,
about
I don't really enjoy driving it.
it. Wow. So what are you just hanging on to it for
I drive it
emotional
every
and
now
financial?
then. Yeah, emotional
good
value
reasons.
and design value. I look at that car and I'm just like, obsessed with the design of it.
Would you
What
ever
year
be-
is that? So
87.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
With the impact
87.
bumpers and all that, the
Oh,
ugliness
okay.
that people think. I love
It was the time.
Yeah.
Would you ever be the type of guy who builds a place that has that car inside someplace?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would too.
Absolutely.
I would too.
That's what I was
totally.
thinking.
Right behind the couch
And
or
that's-
right
that's
next
why
to the
that-
pool table. Totally.
Yeah, and
So
that's why
cool.
that car is definitely staying because Bridge House is not the final, be all, say all. There's going to be something else. I don't know what it is,
Sure.
but yeah.
I mean, in my mind, like one day there's a baby grand on one side and then a
Oh,
a
yeah.
G or
Yeah.
even a
That's
long hood, something
literally
like
how
that,
I
two
saw it in
different
my brain. So, like
concrete
knowing
floor,
what
the whole
year it
thing.
was,
Yeah.
I needed to
Yeah.
know. Like,
acoustic panels everywhere else
Yeah.
to accommodate.
Absolutely. And it
That's so
sounds
cool.
You know,
great.
you get it.
Oh, yeah. No, the sound it makes is just, yeah. And I have
oh,
fun
I can't
with
wait
it.
to see that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
fun.
it's an interesting car.
You surprised me a little bit by saying that you were a big Letterman fan.
Yeah.
So obviously we had quite a bit of
Yeah,
time
we
talking
did.
about
Yeah.
that.
I had no
ahead of
idea.
This is like, can I just like...
So tell us about that. Why were you a Letterman fan growing up in Tel Aviv and then coming to Los Angeles?
Okay, my dad is actually very similar to Letterman. Okay,
Oh.
he's not doing any of that stuff, but he's in a way similar, and the comedy is very similar.
In his
And
personality?
his personality and his comedic thought. And I think I gravitated towards it, and I used to stay up in high school, and it was at 1:30. Well, 12:30, sorry. It was 12:30 to
Till
1:30.
1:30,
And then
yeah.
imagine that. I didn't wake up for high school. Man,
Mm-hmm.
how was
Surprise.
that? Yeah, surprise. But I also saw TVs fall out, the pencil thing. I mean, everything.
Oh, the
I
TVs
think
off
I
the
still
roof.
have the Rolling Stone magazines with him on the cover. I have like a few of those, like.
I had all that shit.
I mean, obsessed, and everybody loved Jay Leno. I was like, you guys don't know comedy. I don't know what to tell you. He's just like selling out.
It might be a better show. I don't know.
I don't know.
For
some
America,
people,
it might
maybe.
be a better
for America,
show.
maybe. But I think like his quirks were just freaking awesome. Everything about him, and
little
I think
more real.
it's just genuine. Yeah,
Very real.
very
genuine,
real.
yeah.
Just him. He doesn't give a fuck. This is him. And
you said it earlier with the we were talking about the perspective and warts and all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Really, kind of, it's everything.
It's
It's
everything.
all the pieces, good
Yeah.
and bad.
yeah, did you watch his current thing that he did? Was it on Netflix?
Mm-hmm.
That was great too.
I think
I
yeah,
freaking
some of those
enjoyed
episodes
it.
I think are his best work he's
Yeah.
ever done. Yeah.
Really, really good. You know, you're just like listening to it and it's just awesome. I think
And
my
the-
sister also got me into him. I think that's what it was too. Like, listen to this guy.
The level of intelligent conversations that they're having on that show now is really, really impressive
Yeah.
to me. The
Yeah.
Jay-Z episode
Oh,
in
yeah.
particular
Oh,
to
yeah.
me was
Oh,
so
yeah.
impressive that they both were willing to go there in front of everybody.
Yeah.
It was like, this is the lesson, guys.
Yeah.
Just let's all talk about it, and what the fuck is everyone hating for?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Here's
yeah.
two guys who, on your paper, shouldn't get along, and they are
They-
getting along famously. Famously.
Yeah, yeah. No, so
Yeah.
he inspired me. I mean, I just
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So are you funny? Was your dad I mean, you are very funny in talking, but I mean, do you fancy yourself somebody that way?
The truth is, my dad would have wanted me to be on Saturday Night Live and not an architect.
Really?
He's like, that's what you should have done. I was like, oh, okay.
My
So-
dad would have loved me to be an architect, and I was working at Saturday Night Live in my senior year of high
Yeah.
school.
There you go. So yeah.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, I think comedy is super important.
What did your dad do for a living, or is
He's
he still
He
alive?
has a water filtrations company. It has nothing to do with like anything like that. But yeah, I mean, he would push me along, you know, for that kind of stuff. I don't know that.
Well, no, I'm trying to think. Maybe we should book him.
Yeah,
I want to have him
there
here.
You go. I don't know if I could ever like write comedy. You know, I understand how to deliver it. I understand how to respond to a situation in a comedic way. You know, like I understand how to make jokes on the fly, but I don't think they're jokes.
Do you think that's because of how your brain's wired, or because you take the time to observe what's going on, and then you can very naturally
Both.
formulate
Yeah,
something
it's like the observation, like, oh, that's happening right now. If I hit him with that, there you go.
right?
You know, and I think that's why people say like comedians are smart.
Often, yeah, usually.
They usually are, because they have to figure that out. They have to be
At
they
the
have
very
to have
least,
a high emotional.
At the very least, they're crafty. They can
Yes.
they can build shit up there.
Yes, yeah. So it's, I don't know. I think comedy is important. It also diffuses situations like crazy. You know, like if I walk into an aggressive construction meeting with contractors, and if I could put a smile on everybody's face right at the beginning, boom, done.
Yeah.
I'm their friend.
You're fine.
Everybody wins.
Everybody
really.
wins, and so
Yeah.
they're like, oh, okay. So we enjoy, even though you know I'm serious. They're like, they know that if I come onto the job site, there will be some serious laughs as well. So I think
Release of tension is
yeah,
nice.
yeah, release of tension. I think is important.
I don't want to be. I don't want to wrap it up like really quickly, but we've totally done the time. I'm having a
Whoa.
blast talking
That
to
was
you.
quick.
Is there anything specific you want to know about us? Because this is really like our first time properly hanging out and sitting down
Yeah,
and like really
like-
getting to know each other.
First of all, was it your choice for a yellow car? Because now we have mustard and ketchup together.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, you're right. The story behind that was we looked at a few. I honestly wanted a silver one because in my mind it was always going to be a blank canvas, and I was thinking about what I was going to do, and it was honestly it was going to be more like the Telefunken stuff, you know, with the orange and red and all that stuff. But we looked at a few. We looked at a red one, and we looked at a blue one, and we saw this yellow one poking out from behind down at the Fisher Imports where we bought the car. And it was not the car we went to go look at. You know what I mean? Everything
What?
about it was. We went to go look at the blue one that was next to it. Everything about it was, and the original conversation. I had a very angry M4, like the new M4 when they first came out, and that's what I was like my daily driver at the time. And we had the discussion of health was an issue in the future, all the things we were, and we had the discussion of should we either add a 911 or change it, whatever. And she said, "Well, all right. Well, you can get a Porsche as long as you get a happy Porsche. Some have the old face that are happy, and then some more the GT cars are a little more angry."
I agree. I think first of all, yellow 997 is a very happy car.
So
The front of it.
So you're getting it. So that was laid out as the groundwork
love
for this
it.
is what we're going to do. And then when we went and looked at this blue one that was very nice, too low a mileage, too nice a car because we wanted. Yellow car had 38,000 miles on it, but this other one had like 12 or something.
Oh.
But we saw the yellow car, and she was like, "Yeah, I mean, it's smiling, isn't it?" Like, it's a fucking smiley face.
It's a smiley face.
We drove it.
And that's it.
One thing led to another. Yeah, then we found out some of the history, and the history aligned with mine, and the whole Lime Rock thing. It just all sort of, came together, and we were like, well, let's just buy this car. And we literally went back the next day and just drove it home.
Really?
Yeah, drove it home.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we had it both for a while. But that was the gist of why we got that particular one.
I love it.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
993 would have definitely been where I would have liked to have gone. the 997 ended up being the better choice for us because it was the fourth car we had when we got it, and we pared down over
you
the
had
time.
4 cars at that?
Well, it was the fourth car, and then we had pared down to 1. It's now our daily driver.
So see, I think that's.
I mean, we don't. Luckily, we don't have to leave much. We work from home.
I think it is the. To me, it's actually the last. People are gonna hate me for it, but
no,
I wouldn't
agree
touch.
too.
I wouldn't touch another Porsche after the 997.
Yeah, I think
That's
they're
me.
all fantastic, but it's
Exactly.
my
for
love
me,
as well.
You know, or I resonate with it. The 99, and I want one really badly, and I want a simple one.
Yeah.
Like I don't want like
No, I would get a T stripped out with nothing.
nothing.
They designed that car for us. They designed that car after we made it. We built it. We put it on the road. We put it on Instagram, and then they made one.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
We've yanked everything out of that car. I mean,
Yeah,
there's not
it's
even back
fantastic.
seats. There's no radio. Like,
Nothing. Yeah.
We made it what we needed.
That's
and
all you
wanted.
need. Yeah, yeah. I love it. I absolutely love them. And I was always wondering. I'm like, why yellow? Why yellow? I mean, like.
Well, and then you notice that it didn't stay just yellow.
I
for
know,
very long
because it has
that was never like
I know.
it
And
wasn't
I love
going to
the
be
black,
just
by
that.
the way, on the wing, because you changed that.
I did. Yeah,
Which
we
is
did.
funny because the 993 has that area in black.
That was why I did it for not only the look. I was trying to replicate that look because it reminded more of the older Porsches.
Yeah.
By the way, Porsche did that too with the Point 2. Anyway, I ended up going all the way to the edge because I liked the idea of this is how your design evolves. I wanted it to when it was up and down, you couldn't tell the difference. From a distance, you could. Now the entire thing is matte black,
That's
and you can't
awesome.
tell. So nobody can be like, he was going 75 miles an hour because his thing is up.
Yeah.
You can't tell.
And okay, my other question is, why do you do this, and where do you want to take this to?
Ooh, very good question. Do you want to answer it all? Because I have all my answers lined up. This started. She's a former publicist. I'm a former producer. We're industry people who all of a sudden couldn't really do what they used to do, but still have the expertise, the wherewithal, and certainly the desire. You know how this started as a potential podcast, 2 microphones, husband and wife at a dining room table. A year later, we're sitting at David Letterman's desk in a real studio in our home. The whole thing is nuts. Where's it going to go?
Where do you want it to go is what I'm asking. Where do you want it to go? Because I honestly believe
it's going to be
you
this.
will a lot of things. People don't believe that.
Oh, I manifest it.
But you could. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm asking you, because I honestly believe you can manifest a lot.
Yeah.
So where do you want this to go? When we do an anniversary show,
I think this is good. I think we both thought, oh, we got to get it out of the house as fast as possible because of growth and everything else, and that seemed to make sense. Currently, I don't know if that's true or not. I think it's going to grow here for a little while. I think the guests have already been getting much, much better. I think we're improving to the point where we're getting better at the job.
amazingly so. The flow is dramatically better.
You're very kind.
I'm
I hope
serious.
that's true. I really appreciate
I'm
you saying
telling
that.
you, it's
Thank you.
true. No, it feels very natural.
I really appreciate you saying that. Ideally, I hope we can continue doing this, but what I see is I think people may start to pay us to do this for other things. I wanted to get good at this so that we could then be a Ryan Seacrest. Like,
yeah,
oh, you want me
yeah.
to sell whatever?
Yeah,
Oh, just
it's
plug
a
me in
proof
over
of
there.
concept.
Now you know we can do it. We can be professional. We
I
can
love
stay
it.
on topic or go off, whatever the
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah.
And the sensibility's there.
Yeah,
Like I was talking to a wife one time, and I was like, "I'll talk to you forever, but I don't necessarily need to answer everyone's questions all the time because it's not always relevant. It's not always pertinent.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to not talk to people, and I know you feel similarly sometimes. And it's like this is such a good outlet for everyone that comes here to be able to talk
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
So it's rad.
It
And the
is
fact that
rad.
other people are having a good time
It's
and then
awesome.
talking about
Yeah.
like, man, that was so fun. What a
Yeah.
neat experience. This is like unlike anything I've ever done in my life. Very professional people. And saying it in a complimentary
Yeah,
way.
absolutely.
Like, man, you found something new. I don't know. I do feel like this is something new, even though it's made up of everything old. A million different pieces of
But that's
old, but in a
evolution
new way.
I believe evolution is stronger than revolution. Okay, so
Love
it's
it.
like it's the same thing as the evolution of the Porsche. If we go back to it, it's like versus a revolution, and then you're like, what's that garbage?
Right.
So I honestly think that evolving is important, and it's not something to discredit. So even if you've taken bits and pieces from something else, it's how do you make it? And you look at cooking, right? Like
Yeah,
Italian
that's
cooking,
what I always go
all
to.
these different ingredients that can make up all these different things. But how do you put them together at what time? And in how?
It's literally
In
the only
heat.
advice I give to people is make your own soup. Because
There you go.
only you know how you like it.
Yeah. So it's the same thing. So it's like evolution to me is exciting as hell.
Oh, that's so cool. So yeah, I guess that's it. This is
love
going to
that.
evolve
I
and
love it.
grow here and then somewhere else, but
Yeah.
I think it's going to be here for a while. But I feel
Good.
like we may there's some branches going to be able to open up for
Professionally,
us. Yeah,
awesome.
I think so.
I love it.
So neither one of us had ever been in front of the camera before this.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was a different. And by the way, we were both very, very behind the camera specifically.
yeah.
You know, that's where our skill sets were. So to
be on the
get
other
better
side
at
of the-
this,
yeah.
it's. We started this conversation today with perspective and how you can once you can have
Yeah.
multiple perspectives on the same thing, you have a much better understanding. I think that's what's happening
That's what's
here.
happening. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
It
It's a
is.
good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Dan Brunn, you are absolutely awesome. I can't
Oh,
tell you how
thank
much
you.
I enjoyed this
Seriously.
conversation
Likewise,
from a
likewise
stimulation
comes- yes.
place.
Yeah.
Same.
Now it's going to be
God.
sad to go back to the office. I got to do what I got to do.
Well, let's see. I don't know where I put my phone. I wanted to figure out. Let's see. How does everyone follow you on social media? I'm gonna grab my phone to take a video.
Okay, it's at DBRUNN009. That's my personal account. You can see like
On
more-
Instagram?
on Instagram. That's
Okay.
more car stuff. And then at DB Architecture, that will be the
That's your
professional
company
account. That's
stuff.
like the company and like all the stuff that we're doing. And actually, we do a lot of stories on that one. And then there you can see all the portfolio stuff. And then there's obviously at Bridge House LA, and that one also shows.
So the house has its own Instagram and
yeah,
like
the house
social
has its own
following
Instagram
and stuff.
its own
It's
website.
So cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
God,
so,
I'm so excited about that.
Thanks.
Oh, geez. I'll turn that volume down.
Uh-oh.
See, people are like, this show's great and everything, but you have to promote it somehow. And we're like, oh my
True.
gosh, isn't that important?
True.
Isn't that an important factor that we don't focus on that
Well,
much?
I'll be doing that for you.
Okay, good.
But you know what I'm
Thanks.
saying? Like, so,
Yeah.
and trying to take the Instagram things
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
it's all such a process that we're learning.
I just saw something that somebody posted, a quick story, and we could wrap it up. But,
Sure.
basically saying like, "Oh, are you tired today? Guess what? Being on social media takes a lot of energy,
Oh,
and it
what a
does.
surprise.
And it takes
Yeah.
emotional energy too. And I don't think people realize that when they're using their phone to like disconnect or whatever
Oh.
it is to do that, there's a lot of emotional energy that's associated to it, and I think people should remember that.
I love that you're saying that. Can I add on one thing,
Yeah,
even though we're
totally.
wrapping it up? I take the same issues. I'm going to go one further and then talk about the physicality that's required in these screens used to be small with very little information on them. They're getting bigger with more information on them, but they're not getting bigger enough for the information. They're basically handling desktop quality in a much smaller amount of real estate. For you to go from this world
It's
to
true.
that world, you have to really get into it, and therefore you are now,
Yep.
I know this is getting really heady, but you're doing just too fucking much.
Yeah, it's true. And if we look at the original iPhone, it was definitely mobile.
Mhm.
It was like mobile web.
When
Mobile
Scott Forstall was doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Man, it seems like we have shined a light in a lot of similar dark corners.
Absolutely.
That's very
That's
cool.
why I said it's dangerous. It's thank God we weren't friends at 18 years old. It would have been dangerous.
Trouble.
Or what we could have accomplished together.
What you will accomplish now
Yes,
would have been
exactly.
trouble then.
Oh, that's amazing. Dan Brunn, you're awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Mrs. Ryan, tomorrow we have John Benton's going to be here.
Yeah,
That's
he's coming back.
fantastic. And Friday we have Breakfast Club. So obviously that's the usual stuff. I love you very much.
I love
we
you
love
too.
you very much, Dan Brunn. Love you at home. Please love one another, and we will see you tomorrow.
That was so fun. That was so
I could
fast.
have a conversation. I know, and we talked forever before the show.
What the hell? How long was
I
that?
love it.
That was quick.
We went to an hour and 23.
That's amazing. I used to see that.